Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. The United Nations calls for safe passage for 140,000 people trapped in southwest Syria. And activities of the summer centres continue in the governorates of the Sultanate. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty King Philippe of Belgium on his country's National Day. The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, appealed to all sides in Syria today to provide safe passage for 140,000 civilians displaced by fighting in the country's southwest region, so that they can receive humanitarian aid and shelter. UNHCR spokesman Andrej Mahecic said during a Geneva news briefing that the agency was ready to discuss with Syria and Russia their plan to set up centres for returning Syrian refugees. The agency stressed that any returns must be safe, voluntary and in line with international standards. Nearly 13,000 Syrian refugees in neighbouring countries returned to their homeland in the first half of 2018, along with 750,000 internally displaced, Mahecic said. Chinese President Xi Jinping has met with United Arab Emirates leaders on his first official visit to the country as the leader of China. Xi held a meeting with Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Dubai ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, UAE ministers, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and other officials at the Presidential Palace in Abu Dhabi. The rulers are expected to sign a number of cooperative agreements involving trade and economics. The visit comes as China pushes to expand its influence in a region where it sources much of its energy needs. China and the UAE conduct some $50 billion in annual trade, and ahead of the trip, the UAE's ambassador to China said the country hopes that will double over the next decade. Xi is expected to attend a UAE-China Economic Forum later today. The leaders of Egypt and Sudan have agreed to mend their frayed ties following repeated failures to reach a deal over an upstream Nile dam being built by Ethiopia, and the revival of a long-standing dispute over a border held by Cairo and claimed by Khartoum. In a two-day visit to Sudan, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with President Omar al-Bashir as well as other Sudanese officials. They vowed to set differences aside and bolster relations in what appears to be Egypt's latest bid to thaw the frosty relations with its southern neighbour. At a joint news conference, al-Bashir and Abdel Fattah al-Sisi expressed their intention to cooperate in all fields as well as in national projects between the two countries. The visit was concluded today. El-Sisi said he would visit Sudan again in October. An upcoming cover of Time magazine will feature a composite image that blends portraits of US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Time said in an article about the cover that the cover is meant to represent the particular moment in US foreign policy. This week, the White House has sought to clean up days of confounding statements on Russian interference in the 2016 election that sent Trump to the presidency. Trump has struggled to consistently back the US intelligence community's stance on Putin's involvement in election hacking, provoking criticism from Democrats and Republicans alike. Along with the cover, Time artists also produced a graphic showing the two faces slowly morphing together. The cover will hit newsstands on July 30th. Oregon Governor Kate Brown said state investigators will help determine if a wildfire that killed a tractor operator was intentionally set. The governor said that the Wasco County Sheriff has asked for help in finding out what caused the blaze that has burned nearly 207 square kilometers in the north-central part of the state. Authorities have identified a man killed in an Oregon wildfire as 64-year-old John Ruby. The Wasco County Sheriff's Office said his body was found near a burned-out tractor. Investigators believe he was trying to protect his neighbor's property by clearing a strip of land to prevent the flames from advancing. Still to come in our news bulletin. A creative director of both the installation and most recent James Bond films recreated his work design in the context of a museum using architecture, light and sound, 007 elements.
عبق فاح بين جنباتها، فنفثت سلاما برائحة لبانها. حلقت عاليا نحو السماء، فنقشت بأبجدياتها تاريخا جميلا، وبكرمها أمست مضربا للأمثال. مهرجان صلالة السياحي 2018 من 10 من يوليو إلى 25 من أغسطس.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. An Omani delegation headed by His Excellency Ahmed bin Saleh Al Ma'wali, the consultant in the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, participated in the 35th meeting of the Arab Permanent Postal Commission, APPC, which was held in Alexandria. A number of important issues were discussed during the APPC meeting, such as the Arab Postal Strategy for years 2018 to 2023 and challenges facing the development of postal services at Arab and African countries like digital transformation and issuing relevant laws and policies for electronic transactions and e-commerce. Other international postal issues were discussed in preparation of the coming Universal Postal Union meeting, which will take place in Addis Ababa in September 2018. A two-day photography workshop was held in the Women's Association office in the Wilaya of Al Amrat in line with Shababi 2018 program, which is organized by the Ministry of Sports Affairs as part of its mission to engage the youth in useful activities. The workshop attracted 60 male and female participants who were introduced to the basic concepts, camera specifications and features in the first day and demonstrated what they have learned in the second day. The participants in the workshop were pleased and happy for being given the opportunity to learn and apply new techniques and methods of how to take the optimal shots. Summer student centres in North Bartana Governorate organised a variety of activities and workshops in the International Maritime College in Sohar. The participating students were engaged in a number of capacity and skill-building activities in the field of information technology, English learning, photography, digital montage, and business management and development. Among the success stories is the story of a group of students from the College of Technology in Shinas who joined forces and worked together to invent a head massage device. The team is currently looking forward to commercialize their prototype by collaborating with relevant local and international agencies. In the last installment of his adventures, filmgoers saw James Bond dice with death in the Austrian Alps. Now, in the same location, 3,000 meters above sea level, a museum dedicated to the world of the fictional spy has opened its doors. After a vertiginous cable ride, visitors to the museum will be greeted by the sight of the futuristic angular concrete structure jutting out of the sheer cliff face, facing a panorama of dramatic peaks. The 007 Elements installation, which opened this week in Austria's Tyrol province, makes use of one of the standout locations of the last film in the franchise, 2015 Spectre. The steel and glass clinic where Léa Seydoux' character works in the film is actually a gourmet restaurant next to the cable car station, which is now next to the museum. And the Oued-style Glacier Road played host to the car chase between Daniel Craig's 007 and the perennial bad guys against a backdrop of snowy peaks. The temperature inside has to be kept below zero all year round, as the building would be at risk of collapse if the surrounding permafrost were to start to thaw. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear to partly cloudy skies, with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Low clouds and fog late at night and early morning are expected over the coasts of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be northwesterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The United Nations calls for safe passage for 140,000 people trapped in southwest Syria. And activities of the summer centres continue in the governorates of the Sultanate. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and have a nice weekend.